So now that we have our hour hand on, it is time to go ahead and put on our minute hand. So this is one way to do it, and there's others. I'm going to show you this way because I think is an easy method for this watch. By the way, it's a stormy night, and I'm having trouble controlling the weather, so if you hear a thunderous boom, it is thunder. At any rate, we've got the dial on a movement holder, and we're going to go ahead and put the hour hand in the 3 o'clock position. And I want you to take extra care and extra time to be certain it is lined up perfectly with 3 o'clock. And once you feel that it is, give it a good look. And I just slowly put it in position until it is perfect. Then put the crown back into the winding position. You could have a dial protector on now if you wanted, if you're nervous about it, working over the dial with your tweezers and with the hand, but I'm going to go ahead without it. You just have to be careful. Now, normally I'd probably be trying to do this while the dial was already resting on my hand pusher or hand press, but to do this operation with it on the hand press and show you and video it, it's pretty difficult. So I'm just going to transfer it over to the hand press once I have the hand in position for pressing. So you will want to lightly, holding it with not much force, pick up the minute hand and transfer it over to the dial. Then what I'm doing is lining it up so it is centered on the minute hand pinion. And then the second operation is delicately lining it up with 12 o'clock. So what this does is put your clock at your watch at 3 o'clock. So when you press the hands, and as the hands rotate around the dial, they'll rotate correctly. So I'm going to now transfer this over to my hand press, and when you see it again, it'll be on the hand press, and we'll go ahead and press down the minute hand. You're going to want to get the smaller size, the next smallest size press, not the largest one that you used for the hour hand, but the next smallest size for your hand press, and have it installed in your press before you go to press down the hand. So now we will actually press the minute hand in place. When you go to do the press, you don't want to have any wiggle. You want to go straight down. You don't want to move the action on the hand press, like turn it like this as you're pressing. You want this hand to press down straight at 12 o'clock flat the first time. Otherwise you'll have to pull it off and set it again. Okay, I think I have them on well now. So what you're going to check for is, one, is the hand installed parallel to the dial, and two, as it travels around. For instance, we go to 6 o'clock, we should have a straight line up and down with the hands. When you get to 12 o'clock, The hands both should be lined up together at 12 o'clock. And this is looking pretty good to me. Might take you several attempts. Might take you a few times to figure out the pressure to get the hands down straight. And it is going to be really hard for me to show here. I'm going to do my best. Oh, you can see it. They're okay, but the important thing, you know, it's not a perfect install. They're not perfectly parallel, but the important thing is there's air between the hour and the minute hand, and they're not rubbing. That is imperative. If they were rubbing, you'd have to pull that minute hand back off and reset it, maybe pull them both, but you've got to get to the point where they're not touching and they move freely around the entire dial and they're lining up. This is the hardest part of the installation, or one of the hardest parts of the installation. I'm not gonna lie, but it is something that you want to spend your time working on until it's right, because it is one part of the build that will trip you up if you don't have it correct and you get to the point of casing your watch and find out your movement isn't working, and that's probably going to be due most likely to the hands rubbing together. So take your time on this part. If you get frustrated, walk away from the project for a little bit. Frustrated watchmaking is bad watchmaking, and whenever I start to get frustrated, that's when things start to go awry for me especially. So, you know, take your time with this part, get it right, check it, really look over your work and be critical of it before you proceed on to the next step, which is arguably the hardest step, which is putting on the sweep second hand. If you are a customer with a thermally blued hands, everything will have been the same to this point, but you will have a cap for your sweep second hand to make it a two-handed watch. You could stop here and everything would be fine, it would work. The cap is there for aesthetic purposes, and I'll show you how to put on the sweep second hand, and then I'll also show you how to put on the cap next.